Howdy, y'all. Hey, we're back to our simplified floor plan here, our basic floor plan, and I've got the roof on, and during the break between videos, I was putting in some layers. I'm going to show you those layers. I'm going to talk a little bit about those in a second, but right now we're going to talk about projecting in AutoCAD to make a elevation. Now, here's one of those things we don't talk about as much as we probably should. Architectural floor plans are just multi-view projections with sectional views. Okay, it's the same as everything else. We just address it sometimes a little differently. So, like a floor plan is literally a sectional view through the house, cut off at roughly 42 inches, 48 inches above the floor line of each level. The front elevation, right, left, rear, what have you, interior elevations, they're just multi-view projections of that side of the house or of that wall or of that counter. So it's all about basic multi-view projection. So we're going to do that right now. And I'm going to walk you through some stuff. So I've made some layers, but I haven't assigned any colors and properties and stuff to them. I literally just went into my layer tool, and I'm going to bump this out so it's locked. See, I made a bunch of E layers, and I prefix all of my elevations with E. Like here's my casing layer. That's my casings around my doors. I'll change it to be a color that's kind of beigey brown, whatever. So it's kind of along the same lines. My ceiling, I always put it in as green because all of my hidden lines go in as green, which means I got to change the line type right here to be a hidden. Now remember, if you haven't loaded the line types, when you click on them, like there's another one, footings right here will be a hidden line. So I'll pull up that, I'll go to load, and it'll pull up this menu right here. I'll go down and find the ones I want, or I can click, shift, click, okay, or control click, whatever it works for you, and load all those in one go. When I hit the OK, it's going to load them in, and then I just get to pick it from this list. For my footings, I usually use a hidden 2. Okay, let's see what else I got floating around here. That should also be a green line, by the way, because the way my pens are set up. My finished floor, it will also be a hidden line. Okay, and it needs to be actual normal hidden, not anything different. Okay, my earth, that is actually the fill I use for the ground. So the soil itself, not the surface. The earth right here is literally the dirt in the ground. So I'm going to pick something like color 32 right there. And then for my ground, I'll pick like color 44. I don't care if it's the same color. It's 34. Okay. My roof is going to be white in this case. The roofing itself, I'll change up to be, I usually use an asphalt shingle that's kind of a gray, at least for default. Siding, I usually pick something that's kind of a yellowish, orangish, like that will work. Walls will stay white. Windows, I almost always draw my windows in cyan. Okay. Construction lines. My construction lines, I use color number 241 right here, or 242 right there. Oops, nope, 242 is right here. Okay. Because honestly, when I used to do board drafting with some folks and my red lines came back, they came back with red, non-reproducing red marks on them. Well, the guy that did it, he didn't mark it so hard that it was dark red. It was always this pink color. So anytime I see pink, I know that that's a red line or something that's not supposed to be printed. So I can actually click that right there. Now, one thing we haven't shown you in here is under these layers, I'm going to pull this out a little further. You can actually do a bunch of controls right here, descriptions and stuff. So you got new layer, freeze, viewport, etc. Descriptions out here if you want. So what I do want you to see though is this. On all of my construction layers, see that little guy right there? I can click it right here on this printer. That means no matter what, they will never print. Even if I forget to turn them off or erase them, they won't print, okay? That's kind of important sometimes. So as you're working your way through, you can use that little tool. I'm actually going to change my door color to be something darker, more door-like. That should do it for the most part. Roofs and walls are now white. We should be good to go to start this. So again, I'm going to minimize this guy down, and I'm ready to project. So all I do is I go to my E construction layer right here, and I do a line, and I just draw the line from the corner of the house, whatever the actual corner is. If I got a brick veneer on my house, I'll go to the edge of the brick, okay? And I just throw it out there, shoot it down here however far I need to go. And then I set another line right here somewhere, like say here. represents my ground line. So I can actually go in here and change that into being my ground if I want. All I do is I highlight it. Okay, let me show you how I did that. So get off there. I'll highlight it, come up here to the pull down menu in my windows, and I'll go to ground, and there it's set now to ground. So once I do that, I can just simply do this. I'm going to go copy this line from that endpoint, and I'm going to copy them all the way across this thing. So there's one edge of a window. There's another edge of a window. There's an edge of a house right here. There's an edge of a door right there. There's an edge of a door right there. There's an edge of a window, edge of a window, edge of a house. And if I want to be, I can now highlight these and change them into window layers. So here's E windows right there. This one right here, I'm going to highlight, and I'm going to change those into E doors. So there's my E doors, and I just hit my escape key in between. This right here, and this right here are my walls. There's my E walls layer. Now, if I want to, I can also go and go copy and use this same line I did before. Copy out here to the corner of that, the corner here, the divisions there. Make all those lines I just made into construction lines because they're reference lines for right now. Okay. Oops, not that one. This one. And I'm going to change those to construction for a moment and change this one back to what it was. Okay, I got one too many. But that way I can mark where some construction things are. I can also use it to go like this. Actually, I put one of them. And mark in where these posts are on my porch. So I don't have to try to remember stuff. I've just got it projected down. I can just snag it. Okay. Now once I do that, I'll simply come down here and go trim. Cut off everything that goes through the ground. And then start figuring out what I'm going to work with. So I'm going to offset. Here's where you have to make some decisions. Do I have a basement? Do I have a crawl space? Do I have a slab on grade? What do I have here? Now this house has no basement. Okay. I would strongly suggest a crawl space just because right now looking at it, there's no place to put in the mechanicals. There's no place to put in a furnace or a water heater. You can put in a crawl space or attic furnace or water heater. I would do a crawl space before I would do an attic just because I want them under the ground protected better than above my head. So I would put in a 4-foot crawl space, okay? Which means I'm going to offset this line here that represents the ground up 2 feet. Because what that's going to allow me to do, so that's up 2 feet, trim, enter, get rid of that and that, turn this line right here into a wall line. Okay, that means that right there represents the stem wall coming up to where it meets the floor joists. I will offset this line I just had right here down 2 feet again now. And that is going to represent the top of my footing. So there's my footing right there. Now I can literally go and say, okay, stem wall footing, I'm going to make this my current layer. And I'm going to just simply come off here, line to there, off the white line here to there. And there should be a white line right there, there. At that point I can go trim, enter. And I'm going to get rid of that and that represents my footing. I'm actually going to erase that one and that one because that's my ground, and I'll do the actual slope of the ground later. I'll now offset 10 inches because that's how thick we do footings around here. Normally our continuous pour spread footings are about 10 inches thick. And I'll simply do a line here, and a line here, and a line here. And I'll go move these 2 lines 8 inches this way. And I'll move this one line right here 8 inches that way. Okay, so that's just a simple fillet, like so. And there's my footing. Okay. Now, when we talk about footings and wall sections in class, we explain to them where those numbers I just used came from. But basically what I did is I have a footing here that's 2 feet wide, 10 inches thick, and is below frost depth in our area. Okay. If I was doing a slab on grade, I could do it right at the grade, but because I want a crawl space, I'm stuck with that. Now, next thing I do is I need to put in my finished floor right here. So I'm going to make this go up, and I'm just going to round this. Okay. In all honesty, if I wanted to break it down, I could. But what we normally do when we do a crawl space is we have TGI or BGI, some sort of floor joist system for a building, for a simplified building like this, not floor trusses, which tend to go in at Okay, let's tell you the numbers. A nominal size of a 12-inch floor joist is actually 11 and 7/8 thick. Then we add to that our 1.5 inch for our mud sill, and then our 3/4 of an inch for our tongue and groove decking on the top, the rim joist that goes around the outside edge and stuff like that. But as we add it all up, it comes out to 14 and 1/8 of an inch. I can do that if I want. In fact, I probably will. But if I don't want that, if I'm not too concerned about that right now for a beginner, sometimes I'll let them get away with, honestly, a 12-inch joist. Okay. But I'm going to go 14.125. Oops, not 14525. I'm going to simply select this and select above it. I'm going to hit enter. I'm going to change that line into my finished floor. Now, I'm going to offset from that finished floor 96 inches. Now, 96 inches up is our ceiling line. There's our finished ceiling. So I'm going to change that into our ceiling layer. And if I can't see those, I'm going to use the LTS, and I'm going to jack that up to about a 12 or 24. Okay, that way you can see my line separations. And I'm now ready to start drawing on this. One last thing I need to do is I offset. I know my door for my floor plan is 6 foot 8 inches tall, which is 80 inches from here up. Now, that means this line needs to become a construction line. So E-construction right there. That'll allow me to put in my windows and doors and have fewer headaches, okay? So that's the basics of how I start an elevation. Now I've just literally projected everything down from up here. I just need to start trimming stuff up and making it look right. So we'll get to it. And I'll just kind of, honestly, let's start. So if I go, say, a 60-inch window, which is what I know this is, that's a 5060, and this is a 6050, okay? So this one's 5050, and this one's 6050. I can do that and then make this windows right here my current layer and go rectangle from intersection to intersection, and from intersection here to intersection there. At that point, oops, I made a rectangle. I wanted to delete that line, and that line, and that line, and that line, and that line. So I'm left with this. Now I'll just go make current my doors right here, door layer, rectangle. Well, my door is going to go from the 6 foot 8 line down to the finished floor. It's not going to go past the finished floor. That would be awkward. Okay, so I'll just delete that right out. At that point, I don't need this top of window and door because those are all the windows and doors on that side of the house. We're good to go. Okay. Next, I need to go in here and make current my wall layer. I know I have a stoop out here that is, I'm using a rectangle tool, that is 42 inches, comma, 6 inches. I made a 6-inch step that's for my stoop that's 42 inches wide. I can then move this from right here at the midpoint to the midpoint of that window or that doorway right there. There he is. Now my concrete slab is going to go right here until it runs into that. He's going to be roughly 3.5 inches thick. And I'll draw a line right here that goes up. Okay, that means this represents where that concrete goes out past the end of the house is gone. And I can simply go extend to this line that is the other end of the concrete. That and that. And I'll draw a line right here. Line from right here up. That means this gets erased. And this one, that's a construction line, I can actually erase it out. It represents the edge of a post, but it was right on top of this other one. So I can just trim, enter, enter, get rid of anything that sticks through there because the floor doesn't stick through the end. Okay. And then I can also go trim, enter, enter, and get rid of, like, say, that little guy right there and this little guy right here, because that's where the concrete overlaps that wall. I just go in and start drawing stuff in like that. All right. Now, last thing, I've got posts right here. I've got 2 of them. So I'm going to do a rectangle that goes from right here, this intersection, down here till it touches the concrete right there. And I'm going to copy him right here, his own corner. That corner right there, that should line up right with that outside wall, but hey, guess what? That's okay. And there's that one. Now, the only thing I have left to do, I'm going to match layer to this one. I know this window is a vertical sliding window, so I'm actually going to do this to it. I'm actually going to go and do a rectangle. It goes from this corner down to here, and from this corner down to here. Now, oops, I didn't mean to draw that third rectangle. Okay, that's what I'm left with. So this is a vertical sliding single or double hung window. This is horizontal sliding from this edge and this edge, but I'm ready to actually start drawing this now. So I'm going to use some trims to start removing some pieces that are behind other pieces like that. Um, honestly, that's really the only ones I got to worry about. And then I can start drawing in my windows. What I can do while I'm here, though, is where I trim off my roof. Okay, that's it. That's all it takes. Now I'm going to I am going to go to my roof to put my roof on my house. Here's how roofs work. Okay. I'm going to draw a line that starts at this corner. I'm going to tell it to go at 12 feet. That's 144 inches. I type in 12 apostrophe feet. And then I'm going to go comma, and I'm going to tell it to go up 48 inches or 4 feet, because it's always a rise and a run, or a run and a rise, depending on how you want to say it. I have to enter it as the run and the rise. Normally it goes in as the rise over the run. Okay, but it's going to go in like that, and I'm just going to hit enter, and there's my slope for my roof. That's from the bottom end of the chord. So if I go mirror, and like this, I go right over, say that midpoint like that, there's my roof's bottom end for the gables. Now if I go like this and go copy, this one from that endpoint there to this endpoint right out here at the corner of the house, there's the other end of it. So now I can just go like this and go fill it. Okay, and so far so good, right? Now the next thing I have to do is I have to make my chords. Well, I'm going to eyeball this, because normally we use chords around here that are 5.5 inches plus a half inch, well, 7/16 inch of sheathing on the outside, etc., etc. So I'm just going to make this 6 inches from here up, and from here up, and from here up. And I'm going to offset, because we only put 12-inch overhangs on this. 12 inches from this wall out, from this wall out, and from this up. I need the wall, not the polyline. If it's going to do that to me, I have to cheat a little bit and go like this, draw a line, and move it out this way 12 inches. Okay, so now I've marked where those are going to overlap and hit, so I can go fill it, this to this, and then this guy to that guy, this to that, zoom in, Benson, and then this to there. So the same thing over here, this is going to fill it to that, this is going to fill it to that, okay, that's going to fill it out and hit the top. Now I'm going to need to use my trim button, trim, get rid of these guys, and actually that right there, because this is going to be in front of that portion. So there's my look of my house. I will actually probably have, weird as it may sound, a line that covers this, okay? But in this case, because I took the gable all the way out, I don't have that notch back, okay? So if I want it, I can do it. If I don't, I can simply go like this and fill it that down to here. I have a line that goes across right here that's part of my roof line that goes all the way across like that, that represents my gable end, okay? So there he is. Now that's the look of my house. From here, I need to start adding things like casements and stuff, and we'll talk about those as we get going. But we'll do that stuff in a separate set of plan, okay? And right now, we're good to go. Okay, thanks for your time. Bye.